We begin with Donald Trump spending another religious holiday on social media on really what you would call a bender. Like dozens turned into 40, 50, 60, 70 posts through Easter, through the Easter holiday. While most people were spending time with their families, maybe in church, we were in church, Trump appeared to be glued to his phone, posting 77 times on Truth Social. From sunrise to sunset, the presumptive 2024 Republican nominee spent the day airing his grievances and sharing far-right news coverage that cast him in a positive light. And as is customary for Trump on the holidays, one all-caps post wished a happy Easter to his perceived enemies, including the, quote, crooked and corrupt prosecutors and judges that are doing everything possible to interfere with the presidential election of 2024 and put me in prison, including those many people that I completely and totally despise because they want to destroy America. Trump also shared two articles that compared him to Jesus Christ. One was titled, quote, The Crucifixion of Donald Trump. And the other wrote that something, quote, supernatural was happening with Trump, whom the author described as a miracle and the chosen one, sent by God. And in typical Trump fashion, one of his final posts on the day was a photo of him receiving a golf trophy for a tournament that he created and hosted. Chances are didn't win, but that's just me right there. President Biden, meanwhile, marked Easter Sunday with a solemn message that reads, Jill and I send our warmest wishes to Christians around the world celebrating Easter Sunday. Easter reminds us of the power of hope and the promise of Christ's resurrection. As we gather with loved ones, we remember Jesus' sacrifice. We pray for one another and cherish the blessing of the dawn of new possibilities. And with wars and conflict taking a toll on innocent lives around the world, we renew our commitment to work for peace, security, and dignity for all people, from our family to yours. Happy Easter, and may God bless you. There's so much here, such a contrast, and there's so much more to report. And it's easy to get triggered and to go down a tangent. That's sort of the Trump strategy, the shock opera, the constant shock, knowing that the base will be there. They'll accept anything. So what you can do now is mangle the truth, warn people about how you're going to lead, which he's doing, and trigger the media. Go after Joe Biden, trigger the Democrats. Threaten what you're going to do. Threaten democracy. And I think that, the parallels to Jesus, the parallels to himself being Jesus are just the next level. And something that is not to be triggered by is to expect in a cult leader. Charlie Sykes yesterday, celebrating Easter, we went to church. We heard from a pastor who made this point. I mean, there's so many good points in his sermon, but it's that Easter was a day for renewal, to think about your relationship with God, to think about your relationship with Jesus, because he loves you unconditionally, because it's a relationship that you have with your God, with God, and not religion. It's not a relationship with a religion. It's not a relationship with politics. It's not a relationship with a person. It's a relationship with God. And today is your day to, maybe it hasn't been so good, but here's your day to come back. It was very beautiful. And then, reading in for the show this morning, it was very jarring to see a candidate, the front runner for the Republican nominee, there's a word I want to use, but just tear all over that concept and make it about himself.
Well, of course, and by the way, happy April Fool's Day. But unfortunately, this is the
Here we are.
reality. This is the real world, and what you saw over the weekend was not an actual parody. The Saturday Night Live episode really sort of nailed it, but it's difficult to come up with a parody of what Donald Trump is actually doing, peddling the Bible in just the crudest possible pandering. But again, the split screen between Joe Biden, who is, whatever you think about his politics, is a sincere and committed Catholic. He is a believer. And then Donald Trump off on the 70-plus rants that he, unhinged rants. But I also have to point out, though, the split screen, what was going on in terms of the alternative realities we live in here. So all week long, Donald Trump had to answer for this cynical pandering with the Bible. But right-wing media was focused on two things over the weekend, and they pounded it and pounded it and pounded it. Number one was the very misleading charge that somehow Joe Biden had replaced Easter with Trans Visibility Day. There must have been 1,000 tweets about that. And then another completely misleading story about how the Biden White House had banned religious symbols on Easter eggs. In fact, this has been a policy that's been in place for decades, including the Trump administration. But in the split screen world, you have Donald Trump with the unhinged rants, but his base is hearing this other message that it is Joe Biden who is the enemy of God and of faith, and it is Donald Trump who is the defender of the faith. It's so absurd, but I think we need to understand and come to grips with the way in which we have this completely alternative narrative out there that has really no relationship to reality, but which is very, very potent in American politics these days.
Yeah, we have a fact check on what you just mentioned in just a moment, and we'll go through it point by point.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.